The third house we're going to be looking at is House Tully, who are in my opinion by far the most underrated of the 9 great houses of Westeros. They have one of the more humble animals as their sigil, a leaping white trout on a red and blue background. Their motto is simply a declaration of the 3 most important things to them: family, duty, and honor. Now, unlike a lot of the other great houses, the Tullys didn't start out as kings or even lords paramount of the Riverlands. They were simply lesser lords that held Riverrun and the lands around it. Okay, so from here on out it gets a little bit convoluted, but here's the quick and dirty version of how House Tully got to be where they are now. Originally, a whole bunch of other early Andal families ended up trading rulership between each other for a few thousand years, the last of which was House Mud. About 700 years ago, the Storm Kings from the Stormlands to the south looked at the Riverlands and decided that it would be a great place to expand their kingdom into. But 300 years later, Harwin Hoare, the Iron King, came in and returned the murder to the Storm Kings, conquering the Riverlands for the Iron Islands. Eventually, his rule was passed down to his grandson, Harren Hoare, known as Harren the Black. Harren was extremely unpopular in the Riverlands, not only because he was ruthless, but because for 40 years he funneled every single resource the Riverlands had into funding the massive castle Harrenhal. He wanted it to be the biggest, most grandiose castle in history, and to be fair, it was. For about 5 minutes. In possibly the biggest stroke of bad luck ever, the day the castle was finished, Aegon the Conqueror's dragons roasted Harrenhal into an empty shell, with the defiant Harren and his men inside. Because the Tullys rallied the other Riverlands houses in support of Aegon and not King Harren, Aegon gifted the rulership of the Riverlands to the Tullys. Moving ahead to the time of Robert's Rebellion, the current Lord Hoster Tully arranged for his oldest daughter Catelyn Tully to be married to Brandon Stark, in order to secure an alliance with the North. Brandon and his father Rickard were executed by the Mad King, and Hoster agreed to joining House Stark, Arryn, and Baratheon in collapsing the Targaryen rulership. Afterwards, in order to cement the longevity of their alliance, Hoster married Catelyn to Brandon's younger brother, Ned Stark, and his second daughter, Lysa, to Jon Arryn. Hoster had also tried many times to marry his war hero brother Brynden to another house, but Brynden refused, resulting in their falling out. Now, I actually really love this house, so it's hard to pick favorites. Catelyn is, in my opinion, the best written female character in the entire series, so I'd probably have to go with her. But I love Brynden's sense of independence and humor. And Edmure, while probably not being the sharpest tool in the shed or the most competent, is still a good guy that always tries to do what's right for his family. Although in the HBO version, they kind of make him whiny and self-centered. Now, while I said it's hard to pick favorite Tullys, it is easy to pick a least favorite. Lysa Tully doesn't really have much in the way of redeeming qualities going for her. But she's sort of like that by design, even in the books, so it's sort of hard to compare her to characters that actually have written-in likability. Now, I'm sure one of you out there has something really nice to say about her, but I got nothing. But what I do have, however, is a spoiler section. This will cover everything up until the end of A Feast for Crows, and these are some heavy spoilers, guys. If you haven't read the books, I seriously recommend stopping here and continuing on to the next video. Just don't say I didn't warn you, because we're going in 3, 2, 1... Alright, let's check off the big ones. Lysa gets pushed out of the Moongate by Peter Baelish after marrying him, giving him full control of the Vale, and having also been given the remains of Harrenhal, he's now also the Lord of the Riverlands. Following the Red Wedding, after weeks of the Lannisters threatening to hang Edmure if Brynden doesn't surrender Riverrun, he swims under the portcullis and down the river to escape, and no one's seen him since. Eventually the Frey's do take Riverrun, and Edmure becomes a Lannister prisoner at Casterly Rock. Catelyn comes back from the dead as a zombie named Lady Stoneheart, hellbent on extracting vengeance on any who wronged her family. That's all for now. Next time we're going to be looking at the Iron Islands and its raping and pillaging rulers, the Greyjoys.